Welcome back here to the Regional Radio Sports Network and the Indiana Football Digest Kickoff Show from Beef O'Brady's. Glad to be joined by my final guest of the evening, Craig Koehler from Concord High School. And Craig, right off the bat, you got a really tough South Bend St. Joseph squad. They had some ups and downs last year, but this is a team that could probably give you guys fits. What makes them so dangerous, but also what does a game like that prepare you guys for in the NLC as well as the postseason?
Well, to answer the first part of the question, what makes them so dangerous? They got a bunch of kids that have played a bunch of snaps. They have a handful of 3-year starters, including the quarterback, who he's the straw that stirs the drink. He's the real deal, I think. I'm not sure we'll see one better than him. Maybe in the tournament, but just looking at our schedule, there's no one else in our schedule that has a kid like him. He's really good. He can make about all the throws, and he's got good feet. He can run it, and he's going to be a real challenge. But they're a lot more than him. They got the Heastan kid, is back, and a couple other their offensive linemen. They're going to be good up front. They got a couple of their backs back. This is one of those years as a coach, and I think Brian would, if he didn't say this, he's fibbing. This is one of those years as a coach you look forward to. You got a lot of those guys back, and I'm assuming they expect to be pretty good, and we expect them to be very good. We're going to be tested. We're going to find out what our weaknesses are very early in the season, which is what you want. The positive thing is win, lose, or draw, and obviously we have every intent to win the game, and that's the plan. But regardless of what happens on the scoreboard, you will find out some things about your team. What you need to improve at, what you think you have done a pretty good job against them at, because they're going to be well prepared, and it'll be a very good test for us moving forward to see what we need to get better at.
Summer camp's winding down, as are the summer practices as well. Who has really stepped up their game in those camps and practices, and what has surprised you in the month leading up to the first game?
Yeah, as I was talking to Paul earlier, we lost a lot of seniors that played a lot of snaps. So it's I guess the best way to answer that question would be collectively. We got quite a few kids that are going to be playing their first meaningful Friday night snaps here in about 8 days. And so it's not really. I can't really put a finger on one person. Of course, there's been a couple kids that have kind of performed better than maybe we thought they could. But I'm looking more forward to just the overall group of players, and there's a bunch of them. There's quite a few of them that are going to be playing for the first time on a Friday night in meaningful snaps. I want to see how we respond. I want to see, can we handle it? Are we ready to be Friday night players? I think a lot of them are physically, but they've never been put in the fire yet, and they're about to be against a really good opponent. And I guess that's more, it's been neat to see how some of those guys have developed into, you're the guys now, so.
When you look at the big picture, when you look at your offense, your defense, your special teams, what will it take for Concord to have a really good season? Like, what will have to happen for your Minutemen to have a great season?
Oh, I think, you got to be good. You got to be good against the run. You got to be able to run the ball. And those were two things that we did a pretty good job of last year. Now, I will tell you, we are not the same outfit as we were last year. We're built differently. We're not as big and physical as we up front on the offensive side as we were last year, but I do think we're more athletic on the perimeter. So, we're not really, there wasn't outside of our two losses, we really didn't have a game where we could just line up and run inside zone and run it repeatedly with success. We're not going to be able to do that this year. We're just not built that way. I think we have some good players up front, but we also lost some pretty darn good players. And we got to play. We got to be smart enough to call games that play into the strengths of our players. And I think we have some guys on the perimeter that can make some things happen. And we're going to have to get the ball out there to them. We're going to have to throw and catch it some to maybe loosen some things up and experience some success in the run game. I think we're going to be able to run the ball, absolutely, and we're going to run the ball. But we are not, we're not built like we were last year. So defensively, we got one kid back in the front seven, one. So it'll be interesting. I think we got some good players, but they're going to have to demonstrate that they're ready to do it. So in special teams, I think we're going to be okay. We got a good kid, a really good kicker coming in that has been waiting in the wings behind the Gorbel kid. I think we're going to be dangerous in the return game. We have some guys that can run, but it's going to take all three phases. And but certainly you better be able to run the ball. You better be able to stop the run if you're going to have deep success into the tournament.
All right, Craig. Hey, best of luck to you in the Minutemen this season.
Appreciate it.
All right, that was Craig Koehler, the head coach of the